I'm John Ochins, and welcome to Schooling Around. The numbers are in and up for Oxford schools. An exciting new international venture is rolled out. Several Oxford High musicians move on to state, and more on the season of giving. Don't go away. If it's fall in Michigan, it's time to count kids in our schools. That's an important thing because it equates to state dollars for a school district, either gains or losses. Tim Throne is our superintendent, and he has some good news for Oxford schools.
So the actual increase FTE, which is full-time equivalent, was a little over 260.
Where did most of that come from? Did you notice?
Far majority was through shared time, which is a part of the virtual academy. So I want to say every school increased in their enrollment except high school, Bridges, and OES. Those three were down. All other schools or buildings were up.
Did any of those numbers surprise you any? Were there any of those unexpected?
Well, Bridges, it really didn't surprise me, other than they're pretty steady. They're right around 50 students because that's all we can accept. And so, yeah, I think we were down like one and a part of another student or something like that. So that really didn't surprise me. High school didn't surprise me in that we didn't have the class coming in, the class graduating, and the number of schools of choice students have been going down. And so the high school losing students, that really didn't surprise me. Probably the one that surprised me was Oxford Elementary School. And I think that really just had to do with the number of kids in the class that was rolling up from DA in third grade versus the number of fifth graders rolling out.
Tim has something else to talk about. It's the new rollout of a new program to attract international students. It's called VIP, for Virtual International Program.
Really what it is us trying to marriage the quality of our virtual programming with the quality of our international program and bringing those two together. Just from a very broad perspective, while we think it's very important that we have students come here every year so that our students get a chance to interact with international kids, we know that there's a limitation on the number of kids that we can bring here. There's a limitation on the number of kids who may want to actually come here, okay? So we know that. But we also know that there's a lot of students out there that want access to our program, our curricula, that either one maybe doesn't have the funds to physically come here, maybe they can't make it happen. And so we're trying to offer our programming such that kids can take advantage of that, but just in a virtual format versus 100% seated at our high school for an entire year. What does it look like if we see some kids wanting to take some of our virtual programming just as an experience, right? They want to experience that. Some kids may want to do it as a supplement to get specific training in an area. Maybe it's while they want to stay in their home country and get a diploma from their own high school, they may want to take a whole bunch of courses, maybe just in English, to getting their English proficiency higher. Maybe they want it just in the sciences or just in robotics or, whatever their interests are. Then I think there's a whole market of students who they may want to get their diploma from OVA, from our virtual academy. That carries the same weight as our high school diploma, right? And so students may want to go all the way to that end where they are full-time virtual academy students. They just happen to be sitting in another country versus sitting some other place in the state of Michigan. And so really what that program is trying to do is leverage the strengths of our virtual academy, what we've learned over the last, numerous years, and marriage that with our international market and see where we can potentially grow that enrollment from an international standpoint and provide opportunities to kids that they otherwise wouldn't have.
Am I right in thinking that what really kicked this into high gear right now is the change in the visa situation with the kids who are actually coming over here, and that we could only have them here for a year now?
I don't know if it's so much that, John, or I think this market has always existed. I don't think we've had time to go after it.
To help jumpstart this program, some boots on the ground abroad. More on that next. Jill Lamond is one of our international student coordinators. I stopped by to ask what's going on.
Actually, my colleague Chun Chun Tong is over, and she just completed her trip in India with Kurt Noose, the assistant principal, and has now traveled on to China to meet up with Sam Barna from finance, and they are marketing a new program within the Oxford International Program, and we're calling it the Virtual International Program, or the VIP. The mindset being that for students to come here for only 1 year, like we are limited with our federal visa regulations, they don't always get the experience that they want or the depth of the experience that they want. And so we want to provide them with more academic options sooner, and number one, so that they have the English language ability when they arrive, and number two, so that they have the content and the coursework necessary to earn an Oxford diploma. We never want to water down or in any way diminish the credentials of an Oxford diploma. And so for students coming for 1 year, it's great if they best prepare for those courses seated, they best prepare for their seated courses in virtual coursework. The Virtual International Program can offer any of our online electives, but we're more so pushing the core courses, a lot of English language arts courses and language electives, and then also courses like US Civics, United States History, and government courses, because those are the types of courses that our students from international partners come without. Because they haven't had access to them at their home schools in most cases.
So what does this mean as far as when a student could start the program?
We don't typically start students any sooner than 9th grade, but now we could have virtual students as early as 9th grade, and ideally they would take 1 or 2 courses every semester from 9th until the end of 11th grades and come over as 12th graders to potentially seek a diploma.
Okay, explain how that would work. Now I know with the Virtual Academy here, they do a certain amount online, but periodically they actually come into a location for
Absolutely.
face-to-face training of one type or another. Tell me how that would
So
work
I
with
think
them.
we are very competitive and very different in the way that we approach virtual learning here. It's really exciting to me to be able to market that because we have what's a mentor system in place that's unique. And the mentor system works that a student will always have an adult that they can go to who is proficient in the coursework, not necessarily the content, but in the platform, the learning platform, the technology piece, and in helping that student to be motivated and to do well. Right now, we have those adults working over at the OVA Labs. In the international, forum, we would have those adults in their home country, and those adults would not be employees of Oxford Schools. At least that's not how we have it set up right now. And they would be sort of like a classroom monitor or someone who knows the student well and can, again, motivate the student to do their coursework. That person would then answer to myself here in the United States. So really the difference in time zone affects that mentor and things like that. I want the students to have someone to go to in real time for solutions. Then that adult would speak with myself to try and troubleshoot if there were any instances of technology issues or things like that, and then I can help to troubleshoot with that adult. So the student really has multiple layers of support, and then also the content teacher. So that's the most important person in the equation, is the content teacher delivering the content and giving feedback to the student virtually, both through video feedback and written comments.
So what countries are we marketing to, and just what are our goals? Coming up.
It's not just a donation.
It's a warm blanket.
It's a bottle of clean water.
It's a roof and a bed.
It's knowing someone cares.
It's feeling safe.
It's a today that's better than yesterday.
Every dollar you can spare helps so much more than you can imagine. Please donate now to Red Cross Disaster Relief. Your help is urgently needed.
To get the scope of the VIP, I asked Jill Lamone what countries we're talking about and how many kids.
Well, many of our seated students have come from China, and we still are very focused on the Chinese student base. We are also going out and reaching out into India quite a bit. Our understanding is that virtual learning is already a celebrated option in India and very well understood. Also, issues of access to the technology and to the websites that we use and the learning platforms. For example, a lot of our teachers use YouTube to upload video comments, and there are some access issues in China. So we're really pushing the virtual programming in India to begin with. We're also looking at Brazil because that's another big virtual market for virtual learning.
Now, when we were recruiting kids for our international program from China, we went through a certain organization to do that over there. Are we marketing this program in a similar fashion?
Okay, absolutely. So we are working with a nonprofit out of New Jersey, and that's who sends over our Indian students right now. That's the agency that we've been working with. It's called American Education Gateway. We have been working with them to get more school partnerships in India who would potentially send virtual students, I say send, but enroll virtual students. We are also working independently as well. We have a few other connections and other means by which we are getting the word out internationally without partnerships. So we've gone both routes with the virtual piece.
Do you have a goal in mind as far as numbers are concerned for this year?
When it comes to seated students, our understanding from stakeholders both in the community and within the staff of the high school, that we probably would never want to exceed maybe around 5% seems to be about a magic number, which right now we have somewhere around 1,600 students, so we'd never want to go higher than 80, and really for comfortability and just to be able to give the students the experience that we want to give them, we probably would keep the number closer in the 50 range. But for virtual, the possibilities are endless because we're not affected by capacity issues whatsoever, and we can grow as big as we'd like. So I think virtual we want to make as big as we can sustain a quality program, and we'll see what that feels like as we get our inaugural cohort hopefully coming up this fall.
Any thoughts on expanding the virtual to other countries, like maybe in Europe or
Absolutely. I forgot to mention we are actually also working to push virtual in Russia right now, just because an opportunity came upon us with another possible partner in Russia, and we would be very open to any countries going virtual. It's just creating partnerships within other school districts in other countries is an extremely long, arduous process. Even no matter how willing the school is and how excited the school is to partner with you, there's a lot of steps that need to be taken. And also, we want to do our due diligence. We don't just want to offer our programming to anyone. We want to make sure the students have a good access, number one, technology-wise, but then also, like I said, the adults in place to mentor them. And so we're really almost interviewing the adults on the other side to make sure that they can keep the integrity of the Oxford name on the other side of the globe. We wouldn't want somebody representing us or in any way providing coursework, even though they're not the teacher of record, and they're not an employee of ours, we still want the right people representing Oxford abroad.
So the expansion of the international program into the virtual world in no way works to the detriment of our regular international program and students.
Absolutely
right?
not. Quite the opposite. I think that it will only better inform the students who are planning to come here. The model that we are marketing is really that a student who participates in virtual coursework will be better prepared to have a seated experience, but may also choose never to come to the United States. This may be for students who don't have the ability to come to the United States, whether it's from a funding perspective or they don't want to miss that time in their home country from a curriculum perspective. So some of these students may want to take AP options online or other courses that are really different and would make them more marketable for their college choices, whether in the United States or elsewhere abroad. So we really just want to be able to market to any student, not necessarily a student who is coming seated. But for those who choose to come seated, that small number who decide to come here, and again that we refine that number down to our best fit, we want to make sure that they're better positioned to earn a diploma. And so these courses are all diploma track type courses, like I said, core courses that will better position them to graduate, should they decide to come here.
So what was the spark that got this idea going about the international virtual program?
Well, we have a very strong virtual program, and Janet Schell does an excellent job of leading her team, and we have some really important people in place who keep that program moving. And I've been lucky enough to work with that team this year, and to really help out and meet some of the leaders over there at OVA. And it's sort of been something within myself that I'm very excited to do. And I know Tim has always had a strong belief in virtual learning and in the benefit of providing virtual content to learners. Really, the United States colleges, and actually as the more we research, colleges abroad as well, are going to more virtual or at least blended coursework. For the last 13 years, United States colleges have reported that they have had increases in virtual and blended learning on their campuses. So a 13-year consistent incline of virtual coursework. If we're going to best prepare our students to perform at the college level, international or domestic, we need them to be in blended learning environments at the very least, if not completely virtual learning environments.
Now, it kind of sounds to me like the folks from our virtual academy will be involved with this somehow.
Absolutely, absolutely. I'm learning as much as I can from them, and I'm trying to leverage their staff and to make sure that we're all working as a team towards this goal. They've been extremely accepting of the idea and really encouraged us to keep going. Some key players over there, Matt Santala, Laura Farwell, and also the Shared Time team, Dawn Campbell and Christy Smith, have been fantastic.
This will be interesting to watch. Next, 5 of our high school musicians kick it up a notch. If you've seen Oxford Band Director Jim Gibbons and his cohort standing tall lately, there's good reason. 5 of their kids are all state. Here's Jim.
So Michigan School Band and Orchestra Association, that's the organization that runs all of the festivals and activities that lots of kids do. They do band festival, they do the Soul and Ensemble Festival. They also run what's called All-State. And what All-State is every kid in the state, every band and orchestra kid in the state is invited to audition to play in an all-state ensemble. And what they do is it happens, the audition is at the end of October. They get the music. Mid-September, they release what the etudes are going to be, and it's a very difficult, like college level, extremely difficult technical piece of music that the kids have to audition on. And then they have to have scales that are memorized. They play a certain set of scales that have to be memorized, and then they sight read. And they go and they do this audition, and they actually record the audition at a set site for each. There's 16 districts in the state for MSBOA, and so we're District 3, and they go to, in this case, they went to Lapeer Middle School, and they audition on a recording. And then that recording of the college level material, that recording is sent to the state office, and then they have a musician, usually a college professor somewhere in the state, ranks and judges those audition tapes. And from there they select the all-state band, an all-state orchestra, and an all-state jazz band. And all the wind players, your flute, clarinet, saxophone, trumpet, trombone, horn, all that, they all play a specific piece, the orchestra kids. And then if you want to do the jazz ensemble, you also you play specific music for the jazz ensemble. So overall, there's over 1,000 kids throughout the state that audition. The band is usually around 100 kids, the orchestra about the same, and the jazz band is 17 students get selected, so one on a part. So we had we had several students audition. This year I had 3 band kids were selected for the band or the jazz band. Hayden Frankie was selected on oboe. He was one of probably 70, 75 oboists that auditioned for the All-State, and one of 6 that got selected for the ensemble. He's first chair for the All-State band. Tyler Delinsky auditioned on trombone for concert band and trombone for the jazz ensemble. So it was 2 very difficult separate auditions that he had to do. He was selected to play trombone in both the All-State band and the All-State jazz band. So he actually has to pick which ensemble he's going to be in. He was the only student in the state that was selected for both ensembles. And then Luke Sittard is a guitar player in the jazz band, and he was selected to be the guitar player in the All-State Jazz Band. Another one of our oboes, Selena Longfeld, she's a 10th grader. She was given honorable mention on oboe. They take the kids who just missed the cut of being in the band, and they'll give them an honorable mention. And so Selena was just barely missed, but was recognized for honorable mention. And then on the orchestra side, Zachariah Smith plays string bass, and he was selected for bass on, he's going to be first chair bass player. And his sister, Nadia Smith, was selected to be a viola player for the orchestra.
That's exciting stuff. So when they auditioned, when they had to sight read, obviously they had never seen whatever it is they had to sight read before.
Yes, that is correct.
So they went in cold, and
they go in cold. They have a prepared piece that is, several measures long. But like I said, very difficult. Both Tyler auditioned last year and didn't make it. Tyler Delinsky. Hayden Frankie auditioned last year and did make it. And Hayden commented that the audition material this year was harder than the audition material last year. So it's a substantial musical challenge for them. And then of course to go in and have to do sight reading, which is really, that's kind of that's showcasing how well they play on the fly, because they may have to sight read something or be given something they've never played before at the actual All-State Festival in January.
Yeah, you have to be very proud.
I'm extremely proud. I can't take credit for the orchestra. I don't even really take credit for the band students, because it's really their hard work. They usually, Hayden studies privately. Tyler is doing a few private lessons. Selena studies privately, and Luke is one of John Hill's students in the jazz band. I don't have him in the band program. The 2 orchestra students are Natalie Frake's students, and so Natalie is extremely proud of them. I'm extremely proud of the band kids and of the department in general. Oxford's never had this many kids. I think the most we've ever had was 2. And so for us to have 5 plus Selena recognized with honorable mention, that's a pretty nice feather in a cap for the Oxford music department.
Yeah, so what's coming up for these kids now that they've qualified for?
So they, at the end of January, they go to the Michigan Music Conference, which is in Grand Rapids. It's at the DeVos Center in Grand Rapids. And they will go, Thursday morning they go, and the band gets seated Thursday. The ensembles get seated Thursday afternoon. They rehearse Thursday afternoon. They rehearse all day Friday. And then they give a concert at the DeVos Performing Arts Center on Saturday morning. And so they get to play. They're conducted by nationally recognized conductors. The orchestra is being led by actually the director of orchestras at UCLA, I think, and the high school band conductor is a college band director from someplace else in the country, and same with the jazz ensemble person. So they play in an ensemble, and it's kids chosen from all over the state. So it's the best players from around the state are selected. So they're playing in an ensemble that's very, very good.
And a great experience for these kids.
Tremendous experience.
Wow, that's neat.
Hayden is planning on majoring in oboe performance in college. He's going to be a performance major. I know Tyler is planning on majoring in music. I think Selena is still young. She's not sure. I don't think she knows where she's, what she's going to major in. And then Luke Sittard, I believe, is also going to major in music. So of those kids that I know, they're all planning on majoring in music, and this is a great experience for them to build their resume and build their skill level for their next step into college.
Holiday spirit at Leonard Elementary after this.
Your Marine Corps' way of life is to defend the American way of life. Every day, we take a stand for our nation, for each other, for us all. The few, the proud, the Marines.
Principal Paul McDevitt and the folks out at Leonard Elementary are decorating the tree, the Leonard Giving tree, that is. Right now, what are you doing with that package here, Paul?
Well, this is part of our giving tree that we have here at Leonard Elementary, and it's a way for our school and our community to come together to do a couple things. One, to help families in need at the holidays, but more importantly, to help our kids see the spirit of giving, to see that we take care of each other, and to really experience what it's like right inside their school. And it's not always people who are necessarily financially in need. Sometimes it's a new family to the community. We want to welcome them. Sometimes it's someone who's overcome sickness or something, or have had a hard time in their life recently. We want to do something nice for them. So there's lots of reasons why families may end up on our giving tree.
So how does it work?
Well, the way it works is we anonymously contact different families. Some of them know, some of them don't, and we organize them to come up with gift ideas for their children. That includes the gender of the child, their age, certain sizes, and things they might be interested in getting. We then put these ornaments on the tree that are anonymous that just say, for this example, this one, family number 15, and it's Wildcat gear for a boy. Shirt size and pant size is on there, so they're looking for Wildcat gear. So someone might come and pull this ornament off, purchase some Wildcat gear for that child, wrap it up in a box, stick it on, and return to the school, having no idea who that gift is for. For example, here's one that came in this morning that's wrapped and finished. It's boy age 5 books for family number 3. So they bring it to the school anonymously. I contact the families before we go on Christmas break, and they come and they pick up their gifts for their children.
So do the kids pick one of the tags off the tree, go home and get whatever it is they have to
Sometimes the kids do. Usually it's the parents. This was up during conferences, so a lot of parents came through. But what makes it really unique is our business partners with the community. This morning, this tree was filled with ornaments, and the Addison Township Fire Department came in and took them all.
So in this case, the bear tree is a good thing.
Yeah, and so we had to get new one. We put more on this morning because we had a couple new families that came in. But Cooper Standard does a lot to support our school. They come in. We have a lot of just families that come through, and some people that don't even have kids here anymore still come in and look at our tree and take ornaments off the tree.
Has this program been going on for many years?
Yeah, it's been going on for at least 8 years that I know of.
'Tis the season. That's Schooling Around for this week. Thanks to Kyle Snage at the controls, Dan Zweiss at the editing desk, and you for watching. This is Oxford Community Television, keeping it local.